Yavo Ezri, Sa'ena, El Hehari, Me'ai, Yavo Ezri, Ezri, Me'im Shamayim va'aretz Esa'enai El Hehari Me'ai Yavo Ezri I lift up my eyes to the mountain. Where does my help come from? I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? You know my help, it comes from God who made heaven and earth. Esa'enai El Heharim Me'ayin Yavo
Asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'ed nasa v'chefetzo kol azay melech shemo nikra ve'al hare
והוא אלי, וחי גולי, וצור כלי, וצור כלי, ויצרה, והוא ניסי, ומה נוסרי, מנת כוסי, ביום אקרא. Yavo Esri Esa Enai El Heharim Me'ayin Yavo Esri. Esa Enai El Heharim Me'ayin Yavo Esri Esa Enai El Heharim Me'ayin Yavo Esri Esri Me'im Adonai Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz Esa Enai El Heharim Me'ayin Yavo Esri. I lift up my eyes to the mountain. Where does my help come from? I lift up my eyes to the mountain. Where does my help come from? You know my help, it comes from God who made heaven and earth. Esa Enai El Heharim Me'ayin Yavo
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, La'ed Nasa, V'chefto Kol, Azai Melech, Shemo Nikra. Rabbi,
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's beautiful to see you on the precipice of a new secular year. As we turn the page and move forward, there's always, to me, a little bit of hopefulness that we can invite into our lives at this time. And I think that this part of Kabbalat Shabbat from Psalm 96 is a beautiful tapping into the joyousness and the possibility of the new year. Ya'aloz sadai v'chol asher bo az yirananu kol atzei ya'ar. Then the trees of the forest will shout for joy at the presence of Adonai, for God is coming. The fields and everything in them exult.
Ya'alo sadai, v'chol asher bo ya'alo sadai. Ay, 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 ya'alo sadai, v'chol asher bo ya'alo sadai. Ay, 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 az yiranadu kol atzei ya'ar, az yiranadu kol atzei ya'ar, az yiranadu kol atzei ya'ar, az yiranadu kol atzei ya'ar. Ya'alo sadai, v'chol asher bo ya'alo sadai. Ay, 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 ya'alo sadai, v'chol asher bo ya'alo sadai. Ay, 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 ay.
Please turn with us to pages 2 and 3 in your Sidurim, where you'll find the blessing of the Sabbath lights.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
Welcoming in the angels of the Shabbat, page 24. Please join us in Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Orchem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Shalom, Malachei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please rise on page 26.
Yikadal,
Yikadal, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Madivrach hirtei v'yamlich malchutei
B'chayechon miyom echon
Uvchayedecho Beit Yisrael,
Bagala, Bagala,
Ubizman Kari,
Bimeru.
Amen. Yehi
Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Le'alam La'al Me'amaya, Yitbarach,
Yitbarach v'yishtabach, Yitbar v'yiramam v'yitnasei, v'yithadar, v'yitalev, v'yithalal, Shemei d'Kudusha
Brichu.
Leila min kol berchata v'shirata,
Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiram be'alma,
v'imeru.
Amen. Please remain standing, page 28.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la la, 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 ya la la la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
On page 31, in the middle. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We praise you, Adonai, who brings on the evening.
Ahavat olam בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובתקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם
Adonai Elohechem Emet. At the bottom of page 41. Salvation is the Jews' victory over human limitations, ignorance, and insensitivity. It is the conquest of sinfulness, of the evils resident within the self, pride, selfishness, hate, lust, cynicism, the deliberate rejection of goodness and truth. Salvation is the Jews' victory over human limitations.
מלכותך,
מלכותך,
רבנך,
רבניך,
חוקי הים,
חוקי הים,
לפני משה,
ומרים,
זה לי,
זה לי,
זה לי,
זה לי,
אנו
ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
On page 43.
Let there be love
And understanding
among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from
life's storms.
Let there be love
And understanding
among us. Let peace and friendship
be our shelter from life's storms.
Ashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ashkiveinu, Leshalom. Ve'ha'amidenu, Shomreinu lechayim, Ufros aleinu, Sukkot shlomecha, Ashkiveinu,
Ashkivenu
Adonai
Adonai
Eloheinu,
Eloheinu
Ashkiveinu,
Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. More than the Jewish people have kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. Please join us for Vishamru on page 44. Vishameru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asod et Shabbat b'dorotam berit olam. Vishameru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asod et Shabbat b'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asod et Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ,
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת דלתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Yalalai, lai, lai, 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 yalalai, lai, lai.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Gula libnei b'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei metim atah Rav v'Hoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechakel chaim b'chesed, Mechayei metim berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Micha mocha ba'al givurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lahachayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kedoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We continue together at the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, ve'amcha Yisrael, amcha Yisrael, u'tefilata be'ahava tekabel.
Say Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'amcha Yisrael, Amcha Yisrael, Utfilatam, Be'ahava, Tekabel. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch hu Baruch Shemo.
Amachazir Shechinato L'Tzion.
Amen.
In the middle of page 59. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulechana ed lehodot. Page 60.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adom lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adom lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Etov b'neinecha livarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Our thoughts and our prayers now are directed towards all of those people in our lives, our friends, our family, our neighbors, our loved ones who are broken in mind, body, or spirit, and we offer them blessings of healing and renewal. Our Misha Berach for this evening can be found on page 253 of your Sidurim. Please join us.
Avotenu, Makor habracha, Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
In addition to all of those who are lovingly remembered in the live stream chat, we pray also for Chris Argall, Shelley Banjo, Rabbi Marcy Bellows, Betty Cohen, Amy Cooper, Shar DeGrave, Liz Daniel, Elizabeth Draper, Harvey and Susan Fowler, Ruben Feldstein, Andrew Fisher, Beatrice Fry, Dean Gavney, Jacob Gluckman, Roger Gluckman, Maxine Goldstein, Ramesh Gupta, Amy Hammer, Nita Hicks, Laurel Jonas, Dick Kelvin, Chris Kuntz, Jerry Plotkin, Jim Rudisil, Jonah Rusalillo, Deborah Sanders, Randy Scharf, Julie Sherman, Jean Schimmel, Bob Ward, Dennis Winter, Bob Winter, and Billy Wolfson.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Please take a moment of silence.
Say shalom bimroma, Huya say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Amen. La 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 la. Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Amen.
It's a privilege to welcome back to this pulpit, to the Bima, one of our dear congregants, Marvin Wolf, who is a master storyteller. He's shared so much over the years with us from this Bima, and another story is coming through that he wanted to share with us this evening, again on the edge of a new year, to get us thinking about the depth and meaning of life. So it is an honor to invite Marvin to teach us.
Shabbat Shalom. I was sitting here in this room about 4 or 5 weeks ago, a little before the service started, and kind of looking through we're looking to read stuff that we don't normally get to, and I came across a passage on page 25, actually, beneath the story of Jacob and the ladder. And this is from Rabbi Lawrence Kushner, who I know very slightly as one of the real I guess the word is mystics of our movement. And so understand that ordinary people are messengers of the Most High. They go about their tasks in holy anonymity, often even unknown to themselves. Yet, if they had not been here, if they had not said what they said or did what they did, it would not be the way it is now. Never forget that you too may be a messenger, perhaps one whose errand extends over several lifetimes. Rabbi Lawrence Kushner. This hit me like a bolt from the blue because I am at an age now when I think a lot about my younger life. I was 17 when I graduated from high school, and 4 days later I got sworn into the U.S. Army. A year later, I joined 5,800 of my closest friends for a 17-day voyage across the Pacific to Korea. When we got to Korea, and all of us made it, by the way, about 2,000 of us were taken from the replacement depot and sent to the 7th Infantry Division. There was another replacement depot, and now I accompanied 200 of my fellow sailors up to a place called Camp Kaiser. Camp Kaiser is no more, but in those days it was about 30 miles from where the North Korean artillery was. We were about as far away as we could be and still be close enough to react. It wasn't much of a place. It was about 50 Quonset huts. And the 200 of us got off our 2.5-ton trucks and we sat around in a cold waiting room. This is late March, waiting to be called. And I waited and I waited. And finally, when there was no one else in the room, this tall, good-looking clerk came out and called my name. And I followed him to his little cubicle, and he looked at my records. He had all of my records there, and he kept me there fidgeting for about 5 minutes while he looked at everything in my records. And then he looked at me and he said, "You have unusually high scores." Now, by this he meant the battery of tests that every soldier takes when he joins the Army, which is a predictor of what school they'll send you to. I could have gone to any school the Army offered, but the one I chose was infantry, and you'll hear more about that in a minute. And he looked at me again and he said, "It was a very unusual service record." I had been in the Army 1 year. He said, "Most people get promoted to private first class at 8 months. It took you 10 months. Why is that?" I said, "Well, I was in training for 10 months. So did you have to repeat advanced infantry?" "No, it was something else. It was complicated. I didn't want to go into it." He said, "And then at 10 months, you were promoted to PFC, and then a month later to Specialist 4. How did that happen?" I said, "You have my records there." I went to the NCO Academy. He said, "And you were the honor graduate?" "Yes." "How did that happen?" "I worked harder," I said, and that's the truth. He said, "How would you like to work up here in this headquarters?" This was a shock to me. I had never expected to hear this. I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, we don't get any people up here with your scores." And I showed your records to the personnel officer, and he said, "Get him in here." I said, "Well, what would I be doing?" He said, "I think you'd make a great finance clerk." I said, "Aren't you a finance clerk?" He said, "Yes." "Yes." He said, "I'm an infantryman." I said. He said, "Well, we would train you. What do you think?" I had no words that I could share with him. I was thinking, what a candy-ass, rear echelon guy this is. I didn't want to be a candy-ass. I wanted to be an infantryman. I grew up in the 40s and 50s when the Holocaust was new, and when I was a yeshiva bacher, I was looking at films and reading books about the Holocaust, and I was very afraid if it had happened in Germany, which was at the time that it happened, the leading technological part of Europe, a cultured country, if it could happen in Germany, it could happen anywhere, it could happen here. And I said to myself, I'm not going like a lamb to the slaughter, I will fight. But I had to learn how to fight. And that's why I joined the infantry. I didn't want to say this to this boy. He had no idea what was going on inside my head. So he went on with his sales pitch. He said, look, this is what it's going to be like down in these infantry units. This is Korea. It gets to 110 in the summer and 30 below in the winter. And in the spring, it rains for weeks at a time. You're going to be out in that 3 days, 4 days a week, a night. You're going to be all the time. Well, I knew that this was coming. I had been at Fort Lewis, which is flat. The difference is Korea is much colder and much more mountainous. But I was saying to myself all the way over there, I can do this, I can do this. And now here's a guy offering me a way out. I was really curious about what he had in mind. He said, I will train you. I'll give you 60 days on-the-job training and we'll make you a finance clerk. I said, I don't know. And he looked at me like I had said I didn't know that the earth was round. He said, let me tell you, it's very hard down there in those rifle companies, and there'd be nobody for a guy like you to talk to. A guy like me, a smart guy, a Jew. Okay, I said, he said, now let me tell you about our duty up here. It's 5 days a week, 8 to 5. Take a break whenever you need one, an hour for lunch, air conditioned in the summer, heat in the winter, clean sheets every night, no details, we don't have any extra duties. What do you think? I told you what I thought, but I didn't tell him. You don't want to be very careful with a finance clerk. They can mail your records to Greenland and you'll never get paid. So I said, well, I think I'd make rank faster in an infantry unit. He said, oh, no, headquarters passes out all the stripes. We get our share. You want to work up here? I said, no, send me to the infantry. I want to tell you that it was worse than he had promised. He was right about everything except it was worse. And he was wrong about one thing. There were plenty of people to talk to. I was 18, most of my peers were older. Just because a person isn't extra smart and isn't educated doesn't mean they have nothing to say or they don't know how to do things. There's a lot more to being an infantryman than just marching. Well, it was a very rough year. I marched holes in 3 pairs of boots. I ate everything I could find. I lost 10 pounds and I grew 1.5 inches. And about 5 months before I was ready to go home, I made sergeant and they made me a squad leader. I became a leader of men. That year changed my life in so many ways. Excuse me. It gave me great self-confidence. If you can lead men in the infantry, you can lead anyone, anywhere. It taught me to rely on myself. It taught me that I could do things I never thought possible. Had I become a finance clerk, I'm pretty sure the next step for me when I got out would be to become an accountant. There's nothing wrong with being an accountant, but I've had a great life. I've had a life of adventure. I've written 22 books. The screenplay was produced. I've met movie stars, politicians. I've had such a good time. And what about the clerk? Excuse me. Well, he was a smart guy too, and after a few months, he found a way to get out of there. He got picked up by division headquarters public information office, and they sent him to Tokyo to edit and produce a division newspaper, which was done in a Stars and Stripes building in Tokyo. While he was there, he did some moonlighting for United Press, a wire service. After he got out of the Army, they hired him, and they sent him to Bangkok, and he was there for a year. And then things started to heat up. This was 1962 when he got to Bangkok. things started to heat up in Vietnam, and he went to Vietnam, and he stayed there for the first few years of the war. He met some of the most interesting and most accomplished reporters. He became a very good reporter. He met a slick lieutenant colonel named John Paul Vann, and he met a very smart, together, Army lieutenant named Daniel Ellsberg, Marine lieutenant, who was an advisor. Then he got picked up by the New York Times. A few years later, Daniel Ellsberg, no longer an active duty, was working for the Rand Company in Santa Monica, California, and he had access to all sorts of highly classified documents. He came across a lot of documents, about 150 pounds when you weigh them, regarding the lies that the Johnson administration and then the Nixon administration had told to the American public about the Vietnam War. They sent American troops to that war knowing that it could not be won. They sent more troops when the general asked for them because they still knew it couldn't be won. Well, what did Daniel Ellsberg do with those 150 pounds? He made copies secretly, and then he called his old friend, a finance clerk. Neil Sheehan was his name. Neil Sheehan saw to it that the New York Times published all of these papers or excerpts from them. The Nixon administration was very unhappy about this, and they tried to stop him. The Supreme Court said, no, you can't stop them. You cannot stop someone from publishing. You can sue them afterwards, but you can't stop them from publishing. Eventually, every newspaper in the country picked that stuff up. So what would have happened? What would have happened if I had said, oh, thank you, I'd love to work up here in headquarters? Well, I don't know about Neil Sheehan and the Pulitzer Prize and all that. By the way, he wrote a book about John Paul Vann, and that's how he got a Pulitzer Prize. But I would have been an accountant. In a few hours will be the first day of the new year. We never know what a new year might bring, what choices that year will present us. Next year, will you take the easy way out? Even if maybe by taking the harder way, you might be better off in the long run? Will you follow your inner compass or take directions from someone else? In the years that follow, will you be proud of the decision that you made? Happy New Year and Shabbat Shalom.
Those stories, Marvin, that you share with us so freely, I know that they are difficult and emotional and deep in you, and I so appreciate your willingness and your offering to share them with us so that we might be compelled to think about the important moments in our own lives. And the choices that you made are inspirational, and they give us a lot to think about in terms of the easy way out. I'll be thinking of that. As we turn the page on a secular new year, we're also about to turn the page into a new Jewish month. So I invite you to turn with me to page 261 in your prayer books, in your Sidurim, and we rise and open the ark so that we might bless the year to come. Yehi ratzon milofanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu shetechadesh aleinu et hachodesh haba latova v'livracha v'titen lanu chayim arukim chayim shel shalom Chaim shel parnasa, chaim shetehevanu, ahavat Torah v'yirat shamayim, chaim sheyimal'u mishalot libenu l'tova v'nomar amen. Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace, prosperity, a life exalted by the study of Torah and the love of Torah and the reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are fulfilled for good. Rosh Chodesh Shvat Yihiyeh B'Yom Sheni. The new month of Shvat will begin on Monday. We remain standing and turn to page 282 as we join in Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn now to all of those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives are a blessing to humanity. We mention by name these from our congregational families who died in recent days. We remember with love Adele Cohen, the cousin of Nat Cohen, and we also acknowledge the yard sites from the last 2 weeks of these from our congregational families: Ben Blumberg, Aaron Chasen, Florence Chasen, Esther Cantor Croland, Linda Kilpatrick Davis, Harold L. Fisher, Joseph Gallenbeck, Abraham Garfinkel, Esther Goldenberg, Herbert Goldsmith, Janet Fortang Green, William Heller, Richard Hiller, Julius Katz, Greta Kemp, Ellen Kempenich, Joseph Klein, Fanny Kramer, Olga Mankett, Bernard Neymark, Marilyn Newman, Ada Aileen Oxman, Barney Perlman, Kenneth Raisin, Louis Resnikoff, Gisela Schneiderman, Florence Schubert, Michael Schwartz, Ivan Senzon, Paula Tatmar, John Vinn, Vera Vinn, Ann Wall, and Marion Weiss, and all of those who are lovingly remembered in the live stream chat. Please rise as we turn together to the Mourner's Kaddish, which you can find on page 294, as we join together as a single congregational family, grateful for the gifts of life and memory. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agalav b'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei olamaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh.
V'yit hadar, v'yit alev, v'yit halal, shmei d'kudisha b'richu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mirmav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen.
בידו אף כדרוכי, בעת אישן והעירה, ועם רוחי גבייתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא, ועם רוחי גבייתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא.
My soul I give to you, my spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Hold me in your hand. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely in your hand. My soul I give to you, my spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Hold me in your hand. Draw me near, I shall not fear.
אדוני לי ולא אירא.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Kevin Ring, representing the CBHT Stream Team this evening. Got a few announcements I'd like to share with you. Tomorrow morning, January 1st, from 10:30 to 11:30, you can pick up your Locks box. If you have pre-ordered with the Brotherhood, you can pick that up right out front. Religious School is back in session on Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. We look forward to seeing everyone there. The Caring Community Circle is currently registering for its Holding Space workshop, where you will be led by two professionals in learning ways to create a caring atmosphere for personal and ancestral grief. Sisterhood is collecting items for Helpmate to be collected in the basket in the gallery. They are in specific need of toothbrushes, hairbrushes, and travel sizes only of toothpaste, shampoo, body wash, and deodorant. Join Sisterhood on Wednesday evening at 5 p.m. for CBHT, or at CBHT for Rosh Hodesh Shabbat, for celebration of the trees and sharing of family superstitions. Adele Packer will be offering a course titled The Power of Words, Shining the Light on the Aleph Bet. It is a deep dive into meditation, gesture, and guided expressive movement. It will be on Zoom for 5 weeks starting January 5th. Next Friday, January 7th, is family services at 6:30 p.m. The following Friday, January 14th, is when we begin Kabbalat Shabbat at our new time of 7 p.m. That's right, services will be beginning at 7 p.m. and not 7:30. Help us spread the word about this earlier time. Details and links for all the events I just presented is also in your Tuesday email, or you can call Buffy in the office for info. Shabbat Shalom and Happy New Year.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
In addition to contemplating the choices that we've made in our lives, each day is an opportunity to make a choice to live fully, live deeply, to treasure every day. So please join us in our song, Limno Diamenu, teach us to treasure each day.
Limno Diamenu, Limno Diamenu, Limno Diamenu, Kein Hoda Benavi Levachokma, Limno Diamenu. Teach us to treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day. That we may open our hearts to your wisdom. Oh, teach us to treasure each day. That we may open our hearts to your wisdom. Teach us to treasure each day. Treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day. Treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Happy New Year.